John Rooke with Pete Rock, and we move now to the University of Cincinnati, and their first-year head coach, Tommy Tuberville. But Coach Tuberville is not a first-year head coach by any stretch of the imagination. It's his first year at UC, but spent the last 3 years at Texas Tech. I know football fans from all over the country remember that he had a significant amount of time in the Southeastern Conference as well, at Auburn and at Mississippi, and so Coach, welcome to the American Athletic.
Thank you. Glad to be here. It's interesting. Glad to be here today, and it's been a long 8 months. You know, whenever you change staffs and change coaching jobs, it takes a year to get going. You know, getting everybody in, knowing what's going on. I have very little knowledge, obviously, of this league because I hadn't been recruiting these guys. You know, when I was in the SEC for 14 years, every year I'd know who Florida had or Alabama because we at least tried to recruit them, and you knew the talent that they had on their teams. And here we don't know that, but it won't take us long to find out. We've looked at all the film, and my coaches have done a good job. You know, we're kind of getting settled in, but after next week, it'll be like that. We've been at Cincinnati forever. When you start two-a-days, there's nothing but football, so it'll be a grind. But we're looking forward to it.
I'll bet you are anxious for that.
Yeah.
You know, when we set with the transition from leagues, transition coaching staffs, getting everything all settled, those are unfootball-like things, but have to happen.
Yeah.
Now you're probably ready to get on with the job of football.
Yeah, but they're all the same.
Sure.
You know, football is football. Everybody talks about the SEC and the Big 12 and the Pac, whatever they are now, and the Big 10. It's just you know, it's football, and I enjoy it. You know, I enjoy it, and I tell you, we've got some good football players in this league, and it's going to be exciting to play them one at a time. And we open up with 2 Big 10 teams in Purdue and Illinois, and so we've got our work cut out for us. But we've got a good team. I'll tell you that I've really been pleased with the work ethic and the attitude of our players. You know, Cincinnati has been one of the kind of the darlings of college football in the last 6-7 years. Won 10 games 4 times. That's almost impossible to do. I don't care who you're playing. It's hard. It's hard to do that, and it's been fun to watch Cincinnati improve. After Rick Mentor, I thought he did a good job in 10 years. And then you've got D'Antonio, and then Brian, and then Butch Jones, and I'm at Cincinnati now to try to make it better. And the only way you can get better is the administration has to jump aboard, you know, and they've done that. Dr. Ono, our president, we put close to $100 million in our stadium. Whip Babcock I worked with at Auburn, and that's one of the reasons I'm at Cincinnati. He knew me, and he knows the kind of philosophy that I have, and so, you know, we're excited about the changeover and the chance to improve. But I tell you, the 8 months I've been here, the players have been outstanding, and we've got some good ones. I'd love to play a lot of the teams I've been playing over the years, but we play in our league, and we have an opportunity to make our league better, and it is going to be a very good league. I just told the print media that we're only going to be as good as the media lets us, because you have to have exposure, you have to have TV,
right,
and there's room for everybody. But I tell you, we've got some excellent coaches in this league and excellent players, so it's going to be a challenge.
Coach, you just kind of touched on it. Here's a program that has begun to make a national name for itself. You've won a piece of a conference title for the last 5 years, won 10 games or more. Last season went 10-3, finished in that 4-way tie for a coach championship in what was then the Big East. So how best do you improve on it? I mean, is it even doable? Do you need to make the big game? Do you need to get into the BCS? Do you need to get into the future playoff? How does Cincinnati go from here?
Well, it doesn't go in just 1 year. It's a 3 or 4 year process. We're going to be good. But, you know, we're playing teams like Louisville this year that's got a good football team. They got almost everybody back. But if you go back and look at last year's game, which I've seen several times, Cincinnati probably should have won that game. You know, they went down to the end, missed a field goal, overtime, but I tell you, everybody improves. Everybody, if you don't stay the same, either you get better or you get worse. And I've been on teams before, you had everybody coming back, and it was just total disaster. I mean, that happened to me in 2001, but we opened up with USC and Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush at Auburn, and we got it handed to us pretty good. And then we played Georgia Tech, a good team on the road, and we lose that one. So we were preseason #1, and then we just fell off the map. It's not about what you're expected to do; it's about what you do. And football is a true team sport. It's not about 1 or 2 players. It's about your 22 that start, and it's about 22 that are backups, because those backups are going to have to be as good as those starters somewhere down the line, because it's a physical sport. So we're in it to get about 50 to 55 players ready to go. It's about luck, about staying healthy. It's about running the football, and it's about stopping the run. If you can do those things, you got a great chance to have continued and consistent success. So at Cincinnati, I'm looking to be consistent with our team, put in a philosophy, stick with it, and let these kids grow up in the system and see how much better we can get.
Well, and I think that's imperative. The Cincinnati, what's impressed me about them is the transition that they've made from coaching staff to coaching staff. You know, there's one in a row and 2 in a row, and then a couple of years they've got a coach. They've had quarterbacks come in and out of different systems,
right,
and situations happen. Yet they show up every week and play football and play it well. I mean, to the tune of 4 championships, and you mentioned the 10-win
right,
systems. There's a mental toughness about that Bearcat team somehow that they draw it from somewhere. Maybe it's the kids they recruit, but I think you're fortunate to be part of that and to add that whole dimension that you're going to bring, and I'm sure that stability that you're going to bring to that whole program.
Yeah, and it's, as you said, it's about mental toughness. That's what football's about. Now, you get in some of these leagues, and I just came from one that it was about throwing it 5 yards and trying to break a tackle and get down the field. It was basketball on grass. Now, the Big 12's got great athletes. They've actually got better skilled athletes the years that I was there than what I saw in the SEC. You had better linemen and better running backs in the SEC. That was the difference. And you can probably be more consistent week in and week out with what a Nick Saban does in college football, because sooner or later your quarterback's going to have a bad game. You're going to run into a bad weather day, you know, and you know, if you live and die off of the drop back and throw it ever down. So I've been around a while. I've been coaching 36 years, and the most consistent teams I've had have been able to be balanced on offense but play good defense. And so that's what I've been working real hard at for the last few months, is make sure that we get our defense where we want to get it to. We're not there yet. We're teaching fundamentals and techniques. Our offense will come around. We've got some good offensive players, but it's about them kind of fitting into what I want to do, and it's about me fitting in what they want to do, because again, you don't go in and just run something because it's what you know. You've got to fit it into your players, and our coaches have been working hard to do that.
All right, so how is that transition going? Because what Cincinnati has shown football-wise the last few years is, you know, some getting up and down on that you know, track field, that basketball court you were talking about on turf, and had some great athletes to it, some athletes that are now moving on to the next level. How well can you integrate what it is that you want to do, knowing the personnel that currently exists on campus?
Yeah, it starts with your quarterback, and we've got Brandon Kay that's back a month ago. Both of those guys started about equal number of games last year, so both are back. We've got some good skill guys on the outside, and Anthony McClung, who could play for anybody that I've coached. And then we have a young man playing running back that's not a big kid. He's only 165. His name is Ralph Abernathy. Now he's
the Reverend?
Yeah, the Reverend. I tell you what, he's quick, and he's not the fastest guy in the world, but man, he can make you miss. And so that goes along with an experienced offensive line, which I've inherited. And I'm just going to stay out of those guys' way. They're They're tough, they're mean, they know how to play football. And that in the trenches, that's where you're going to win your close games. So we're going to hang in there with those guys.
Abernathy was one of the guys we thought was one of the most electric players we actually got a chance to see play in person a year ago. Is he though at 5'7", is he the kind of guy that can be an every down back?
No, he can't do that. And I've tried my best to get him to 170. I mean, he's not like us. Just go out and eat a donut and you gain about 3 pounds. I mean, this kid works hard, and he's tried his best to get up to 170, 175, and even if we get him there, you know what happens in 2 days. Sure. They lose it.
Right.
They're going to lose it off the bat because he is one of those dedicated workers that grinds and tries to make himself better. He's a great screen pass guy. He's not going to be your great blocker, obviously, because he's not going to be able to have that weight behind him. But I'm looking forward to trying to get the ball in his hands, 15 times a game, whether it's pass or run, because he can make things happen. I've got to come up with another running back. We lost a running back last year. I signed 2 JUCOs, Jose Williamson from New York Junior College, and then Rod Williams, the #1 junior college running back out of Mississippi. And so those 2 guys will come in along with Tion Green. And if we can find us one running back that can be a bell cow to being physical along with Ralph Abernathy, we're going to have a good offense.
Well, advantage you have is good up front, and oftentimes you get the right 5 guys up front. You open a new can of running backs, it doesn't matter who's carrying the ball back there. Well, if they can open holes and make it happen.
Go back and look at the national champion last year. Alabama had 4 starters that were 4th or 5th year seniors, and the quarterback never got touched, much less got hurt. Right. And so it's, you and I could probably throw a complete pass if you got 7 or 8 seconds to throw it, and you're not going to get your head torn off. So it all starts with your line on offense and your defensive line. If you've got depth and you've got experience at those 2 positions, everything else will fall into place.
You open up, as you talked about already, with a couple of Big Ten games, with August the 31st against Purdue at home. It's way off in the distance, but the very last game of the year is a matchup with Louisville in December. And I know the coaches look at it one at a time, so don't chop my head off here, Coach. But I think, looking at what the preseason standings have, you and Louisville at 1 and 2 at the top of the order, that could be a de facto title game. I know you hope to be in position to be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I hope it works out that way, because it's a home game for us. And as I said last year, the game at Louisville was a cold game, went down to overtime, and Louisville was able to win it. I'm excited what Charlie's done. Charlie and I grew up together in Arkansas, and he's a good football coach, and he bounced around the SEC as I was in the SEC. Right. And I've been watching Charlie from afar. They've done a good job of recruiting. They've gotten a lot of speed on the field. They've got a lot of experience back. So they're obviously the #1 choice, and probably a top 10 team coming out of the chute, because they beat the heck out of a Florida team in the Sugar Bowl. And everybody said, well, Florida wasn't really playing. That's wrong. I mean, surely they're ready to play. They just got beat. And so it'll be fun to watch them go along through the season, but we just need to go worry about ourselves, because there's a lot of water underneath the bridge between then and the first game into that last game. But it's obviously is a game that we've circled and know that we're going to have to play well in to have a chance to win.
Coach, as a good old Southern boy as well, it's great to hear your accent.
Well, it's good to be. I'm just right across the river now and get over in Kentucky, and they sound like me. In Cincinnati, but
doesn't take much, does
I've had to learn to eat skyline chili and all those things. Nice. So, but my wife's from Cincinnati, so I've got a little carryover there, and I tell you, it's been a lot of fun. It's been interesting going to Cincinnati, and the high school football is just outstanding. I'm excited. I've been at some places now. I've had to go a long way to recruit. Well,
you're right in the middle
Cincinnati, I'm right in the middle of it. Now, the problem is You got everybody else that comes right in and gets in the middle of it with you. So
you want to get your fair share.
Get our share. If we do that, we're going to be just fine. And again, there's a lineman. Everybody comes for lineman to Cincinnati, and you've got Moeller and Princeton and St. X and Coleraine. You got some great football. It's just unbelievable the football that we have there in high school, and that's going to help us, obviously.
You bet.
Coach, thanks for taking
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Good to see y'all.
Good
See
luck
you
to you,
soon.
Coach.
Yes, sir, you certainly will.